There are lots of secrets and treasures you can find in Jedi Survivor, including one that brings back the ponchos from the first game and a fight that will give you some horrible flashbacks, except it's doubled now. Today I'm going to show you how to get these secret items. As always, if you enjoyed these videos, a like would help a ton, so let's dive right in. At number 1, hanging around the saloon, you likely get the rumor called Find the Gorgeous Secret, at the end of which you get this really awesome and unique looking lightsaber. You will know you can do this when you will spot the Tronto shell, the big creature at the starting zone of the planet, glowing in the color green. This will open up quite early once you tamed your first mount, as now you can press the same button to also command this Tronto shell to give you a lift to an otherwise inaccessible area. Once onto the other side, you have 2 main roads, and the longer one here onto the right will lead you to the treasure. It's easy, all you have to do is to run up a series of walls until you reach this flat area with a boss encounter. Once defeated, you can make your way ahead to the flying creature in the back and glide to the elevated plateau below. At the end of it, you'll find this treasure chest, inside of which you will get the Hunter lightsaber. I think this is one of the most unique skins you can get this early, as it also features a pair of horns onto the end of the hilts on top of a pretty awesome design. This is especially noticeable with a double-bladed stance, since you can then see them on each of the blades. Really nice and gives you a pretty badass vibe. However, in the same area that you just left, there are a few more secret unlocks you can get if you go onto the left side instead. So there's going to be 2 of these larger containers that you can bring down here using your force powers, and then use them to slide the first one over the other to pass this gap. This will then let you get the extra skill point in the area. But using the same gap, you can also stack them on top of each other, so you can then reach this higher gap at the start of it and basically get the goatee beard style from one of the chests at the upper levels. At number 2, if you explore some of the caves near the main town on Kobo, specifically this one called the Untamed Downs on this side of the map, you will notice one of these destructible doors inside of it. This will hold the Santari Khri lightsaber, and it's looking really royal and cool, but you will need a roller mine to blow that open. So to get the roller mines, the closest are going to be in this facility to the right side, right across the nearby area. Once here, you will get spotted by the mines, and you'll basically want to just let them chase you all the way back to the cave. It's a pretty long journey there, but once you reach back, you can just grab one of them and blow that door wide open. Inside, there's another treasure which gives you that nice and royal looking Santari Khri lightsaber. I think this works really well with white and gold or white and blue, and the best thing, just like the Hunter variant from previously, you get all the components for the entire lightsaber skin. But let's talk about some blasters too. One of my favorite rumors is called Check on the Jawa settlement, the one located just across of Rambler's Reach. For this, you will need to actually progress a bit in the story until you have both the Neko mount and the ability to telekinesis some of the large objects and gates. So you will want to start from the meditation point at the lower levels of the settlement and then make your way up following the path until you reach this taller building into the center. Here you're going to notice some of the Jawas giving you a help in activating the cranes holding these climbable containers. You will then need to use your force powers, like I said, to move them, but this now lets you also reach the next mission area. So try to do that without falling down, and also pull these containers one by one to reach the final area. Here you will have to defeat a bunch of raiders, and once that's done, you get to now recruit the Jawas and also finish that side mission. However, it doesn't end up here, as now these guys will go back to the main town and even repair these 2 houses in the center which were previously inaccessible. Specifically the one onto the right side, which needs an electro dart upgrade from BD1 to power up the door and enter inside. So if you progress enough in the story, you will get that, and once you do it, this lets you go inside of that house and grab another item, the super unique Swoop blaster skin. This has the whole old school alien vibe to it, probably the most unique skin for the blaster I've seen, and now also you get the Jawas to populate your settlement, which is pretty nice. The house to the left of it can also be opened now using the connector outside on top of the building to transfer power to the second building, and inside you will find that extra skill point. If, however, you want a quicker and easier blaster skin, then there's going to be one right here to the left, opposite side of the Jawa settlement, basically through a closed tunnel onto the side of the road. From this, you will want to make your way at the top and again use your force powers to open up the gate. Inside you'll have the typical Jedi temple mechanisms, and you'll have to grab the orb from the right side of the central room to power up that beam and basically open up the tunnel. But it doesn't just open up the tunnel. From here you'll actually notice that the beam goes all the way back in town and hits this orange building, giving you the perfect spot to spread that to a nearby locked structure. So to do so, you'll need to use BD1's Kobo Grinder and basically make a path for the beam inside this structure to clear up the mess inside. Of course, you do need to reach that certain point in the story when the Kobo Grinder does get unlocked. And once it's done, this will explode, revealing a cache inside, which is now going to give you the Quickdraw skin of the pistol. This also looks pretty cool, kinda like that old school double revolver that gives you a nice space cowboy kind of theme that you can go with right now. And just like with the previous ones, this also gives all the components needed for the entire item. And of course, this brings us to the final treasure, which is also an Easter egg and the revenge from the very dangerous enemy from the previous game, Ogdo himself. Well, in this case, the spawn of Ogdo. You find this in Fort Kalin or Kalin, and basically from the meditation point, you will want to zip into this duct and then make it to the left side until you see this larger platform with some battle droids on top of it. I just recommend to go in the middle of the platform and see what happens. It's harmless, I promise, so no need to worry about that. But let's just say that eventually you're going to have to fight against the spawn of Ogdo, which is even more dangerous than his, well, parent, I guess, and can literally one-shot you with one of his abilities. The moves it uses are about the same as in the previous game, except a lot more deadly, and if it pulls you with its tongue, it's now basically a one-shot regardless of the amount of HP that you have. However, defeating it now also gives you clear path to the treasure at the back of the cave, which, you guessed it, is how you grab the ponchos from Fallen Order. I don't think it's all the ponchos from the first game, but a good portion of them. It's basically one skin, but with a lot of color schemes, which are the ones that you also got from the previous game. This is, as far as I'm aware, the only poncho in Jedi Survivor, as it was also hinted by the devs before the game came out. However, you're not done with it, and there's one final thing that this whole encounter unlocks, because if you paid attention to Dama Dendra's shop, you probably also noticed the frog creature onto the right side of her. Pretty much the exact same that you also get to react to in the cave you just defeated the second Ogdo. Well, now you can actually interact with it, which is going to open up a brand new force stair right next to it. Inside of it, it's going to be probably your biggest nightmare, as you'll now have to fight both the original Ogdo and the spawn of it at the exact same time. It's actually a much easier fight than I expected, I'm not gonna lie. In my opinion, it's a little bit easier than just fighting the spawn of Ogdo alone for some reason. Maybe because, well, in this case, they take a bit longer between their attacks since they kinda alternate. So I guess if you made it from the first fight, this should be slightly easier, or at most on the same level. I imagine Jedi Grandmaster is probably going to be insane in terms of difficulty since that changes things, but for everything else, I think this would probably make it possible for most players to also finish it. In any case, once done, you also get this nice achievement and you can finally say that the cycle of revenge is done, well, unless they decide for a third encounter in the next game. That's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.